Hello, hello, YouTube. Welcome to another live and welcome to my From 9 to 5 to Entrepreneur vlog, where I share with you my insights and updates from going from a 9 to 5 job and stepping into the amazing world of entrepreneurship. And my name is Kara, and if you haven't been here before, hello. And definitely check out the other videos on my channel where I explain some of the insights that I had with my first year of doing from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur. And now I'm in my second year, which has been quite incredible. I should actually go back and watch my videos and see how much I've grown and learned since then. So, I will actually be sharing some updates of what I've been up to. But first, before I do that, I want to give you some value first. So, moving forward with these vlogs, I'm trying to keep them catered to like one topic at a time so that they can actually be helpful for you and not just me like venting or ranting on about, my updates and that kind of thing, which is definitely exciting, but it's not really what you're here for. Or if it is, like, let me know in the comments. But today I wanted to talk about what would I have invested in if I could go back for my business. And I think this is such an important topic because I feel like as new entrepreneurs, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. So you look at things like maybe hiring a one-on-one coach or going into group coaching or going through courses or books or whatever resources that you can find to help you get started. Maybe some of you have consulted friends first before you jumped into anything, and maybe you found that they were helpful, or maybe you found that your friends also have no idea what they're doing, and so you're kind of lost. So I wanted to talk about what I decided to invest my time and money in before, and what I would have actually done differently that I'm actually doing right now, and that's part of the updates that I will share with you later on in this video. So let's get started. And just for top of mind for me, I think that YouTube has now segregated lives and videos. So there's like its own tab for a live video rather than um, like labeling it as a video, which I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of, because I think when it separates it that way and then people go to my page, they don't really see the videos. They don't see the lives. They just see what's on the video page. So if you are watching this live, like, I don't know what you can do, but maybe comment or something. Just like let me know if like you were inclined to go to this live because you saw the live tab, or I don't know, maybe you're just really awesome at YouTube and you know exactly where to go. I don't know, but I feel like I might have to download these lives and then just upload them to the video side of things so that people can actually see them better. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk. So I wanted to share first, like, what did I invest in first? So, um, I kind of have like, it's almost like when you play games and then you go to the game store and there's like walkthrough books. So I definitely had that throughout my entire life. Definitely not a full on walkthrough book, but because I worked at a company where I actually coached business owners, I definitely had like that bit of a walkthrough and that map at first. So I knew exactly where to get resources. Um, but it also, I'm just going to snooze my notifications here. But it also really just depends on, I guess, your industry as well. And so my industry is in the coaching industry, the mentoring industry, maybe health and wellness kind of industry as well. And I do this mostly online. I have not coached an in-person client yet, although I would love to. So if anyone of you are in the Calgary area and you're looking for an in-person life coach or manifestation mentor or mindset coach, hello, let's talk. Definitely comment below or send me a message and we can talk more about that, or you can follow some of my links and book a call with me to discuss more of that. So yeah, so because I was working already as like, I was already coaching other business owners on their marketing and on their sales, and also just like how to also set up like their online platforms that they were using from the company that I was working for. um, I kind of already knew like how to come up with a business plan. I knew how to um, list my products and services online and how to price them and how to set up payment providers. Like, I was really good at setting up all the admin stuff and that kind of thing, and doing really simple, like basic marketing and sales. And I also had a sales background for some other companies that I worked for, and also a marketing background as well. However, going into the coaching industry, you will see that there's a lot of other coaches and mentors out there who are also selling their own programs, like one on one, which means that you get to meet one on one with a coach and they coach you privately. There's also group coaching, where it means that instead of being coached one on one by your coach, you are coached amongst like many people, either on online video like Zoom or Google Meet, or in an in-person setting, and you're all coached by the same coach or a number of coaches, like co-coaches as well. And each thing has its own pros, and each thing also has its own cons, and I'll go over those in a little bit here. um, and the thing is like, no one is really there to hold your hand. I find that when you start to leap into entrepreneurship yourself, and you're looking for things or like people or experiences on how to help you, you might start to see like these coaches out there that market their one-on-ones or their group coaching, and then you start to feel like it's right for you. And I'm not going to negate the fact that I did feel that at the time, but then after I went through it, I realized it wasn't actually for me. And it might have been based on some psychological factors. It could have also been based on just my experience and the way that I did things for myself. um, but that aside, I know exactly what I need right now, and I'm actually doing it right now. So that's what's actually important. But it was a huge learning lesson, the way that I, like, after investing in these things. So I went through this path of like, okay, I saw these like really awesome coaches and mentors, and they didn't like promise things, but they marketed that they would help you with like your business, and even if you were just starting out, like that was good too. And that they would talk about like the results that they got, like the kind of sales and stuff that they got. And you know what? I should have been more self-assured with my time at the time, because I already had like the basic and the ground knowledge for me and also for my business as well, based on my background in marketing and background in sales. And I think what I would have done differently is actually, maybe sit down and write down exactly what I know, and then what I want to learn more about or need to know, and then would have hired someone based on that or enrolled in something based on that. Anyways, so what did I actually invest in? So I invested in several group coaching programs. And the reason why, and I feel like this is it's not really, I don't know, it was productive, but also not productive. So the reason why I invested in group coaching programs was because, one, I really liked what the coach was marketing, and I also really liked the results that the coach got themselves. And I also really just resonated with the coach's like branding and presence. And yeah, so that was one reason. The second reason was because I really wanted community. I wanted a community of people. And so this is more of an emotional thing, where I focus a lot on the community, being around a sisterhood of, female business owners, that kind of thing, also learning their way through the waters. Um, and also, the third thing was, okay, I could probably learn something from this person. But I think when I made that investment, I didn't really realize that the main thing that I was doing for is probably the community, and also the high that, like, the excitement or dopamine hit that I would get from spending large amounts of money on professional development. I had the money. I paid in cash, and I paid in cash for two of the programs that I was part of, and then the other program I needed to actually take out credit, which I would not recommend. However, I did find benefit more from that third program where I did pay with credit. Actually, like I did actually learn a lot more from that, and actually took a lot more from that than community. So, but I'll expand on that in a little bit here. So the first two programs that I had, you know, it was really great to be in that community, be in that group coaching container. But the thing was, I could not really make most of the calls. Like I was going back through the recordings, and thank God I have the recordings. Like even 2 years later, I'm like watching them. Um, I was only able to attend about 2 to 3 of the sessions, and I think there was like, I don't know, 5 or 8 sessions total. Um, and I found that I made a request. And of course, like every business owner gets to decide what they would do with feedback and requests from clients. But I was also a VIP client, so I actually paid, more to be VIP, which meant that I also got one-on-one coaching from this coach and also the group coaching as well. And I remember I asked her if it was possible for her to label her calls because she had like a list of the call recordings, but she only labeled them by the name of the person who was the guest speaker because there was guest speakers for each call and they would cover a certain topic. And, I told her it would be really cool if he could label the calls just based on like what they're about. And she was like, no, I don't label my calls. And I was like, okay. All right. She's not open to feedback at the time. She says she's open to feedback now, so I guess she's changed. But I thought that was really weird because, yeah, I was a VIP client. Yeah, me man being really like righteous here or whatever. But I was like, yo, if a VIP client is bringing up this thing, I feel like you should honor it or at least like think about it rather than just full on just reply that you don't label your calls. Because honestly, like that just helps a lot of people. So that was really disappointing. Um, I feel like definitely that's something that I would practice in my own coaching practice too. Like if someone had feedback like that, I'm like, you know what, that's a good point. Like I'm gonna start implementing that. Right. It takes like a few seconds to do. But I think for her, she also mentioned a lot of times that she just was terrible at technology. So I think she just didn't want to do it. And she even had like help, but I don't think she wanted to ask like her admin for help or anything like that. So after that little I guess like conversation, I realized that she probably wasn't the right coach. And I'm gonna stand firm on my opinion about that because I was like, yeah, I thought she was, I don't know, more open and stuff, but I feel like for her, like she has just really intense boundaries, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, um, so yeah, and so I was paying her a lot of money, and I found that yeah, she wouldn't even like address that request, and so I spent, a little bit more time for myself going through each call, the recording. Of course, I could have just attended the calls live and then I wouldn't have to really worry about categorizing because that's something I could do on my end, right? The thing is that most of her calls were during the day, during the workday. So what I later realized whenever I was considering getting into some kind of coaching container was like, do the hours work for me, right? And there's this thing in the coaching industry, or maybe in a lot of other industries, that, if the client really wants to be there, they'll make it work, right? But I have to also say that also, what if the client has a 9 to 5, you know? Um, right? Like I think I think there needs to be a bit of a balance and more flexibility with these like industries and when it comes to giving these services, right? Like be mindful and know who your clients are. Like, are they working 9 to 5s? Then maybe schedule something that, you know, works for like I don't know, like, take a poll and schedule something that would work for other people, right? And I know it can be a really tricky subject to go about. It could be tricky to do that, because I know for this coach in particular that she had very strict boundaries around her time. So she didn't work in the evening, she didn't work on weekends, um, but she worked like the 9 to 5 kind of time, right? So I realized that her programs were more for people who had time, had more flexibility than I did. And I didn't really actually have a lot of flexibility in my 9 to 5. Definitely probably could have arranged flexibility for sure. And that's in hindsight after talking about this. But at the time, I was like, yeah, like I have like a straight like 9 to 5 kind of schedule at my workplace, and I can't really break it because if I break it, I go out of focus. Like I get out of focus with my work and I start to blend in work and business and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep things kind of separate. But yeah, so I wasn't able to make most of the calls on there. And so that's why I don't think it was the best investment for me. I do, however, have the recordings for life. As long as Facebook is still available, is still there because the course is on Facebook. The group coaching calls are on Facebook. And then I do have access to my one-on-one calls that I did have with the mentor. And to be honest, I think what was more valuable for me was actually the one-on-one calls because I got to have one-on-one time with the coach and also be in her energy and her presence and, just have her hold space for me and that kind of thing, and also tell me, give me suggestions on what to do and that kind of stuff. So I don't regret that part. I really like that part. I think the group coaching part probably just wasn't for me, and that is okay. Um, I later did invest in something that was part like business but also part personal stuff. I actually dropped out of that. That was with the same mentor. The reason why I dropped out of that was because we started talking about a subject that I don't think I was triggered by it, but it was just a subject that I just wanted to stop talking about. It was a negative subject, and I just didn't want to be around that energy because I wanted to stay in my positive energy. And yeah, so I dropped out of that. So that was also non-refundable, and I was prepared for that. But yeah, I still think about that to this day, because I was like, oh gosh, I didn't realize when we kind of go into the subject, and yeah, it just wasn't for me. So yeah, and then I did invest in a third program. So this third program was all group coaching, but it also had a course with it, which I think was super valuable. And you also were very encouraged to work with the other students in the group coaching container and the course, and also, work together, get testimonials from each other and that kind of thing. So I did make a few friends that way. Um, and I was able to get some testimonials and actually practice my coaching skills, and my friends could practice their coaching skills on me, which was amazing. The only thing was that I needed to do that out of credit because I didn't have the cash because I used that cash for those two other programs that didn't really work out for me except the one-on-one. So that was great. So my thoughts and what I would have done instead. Okay, so here's where what I would have done instead, and actually what I'm doing right now. So one is I would have done a lot more research on the things that I needed help on and take courses first. So back when I did start my business, I actually go through like more like resources that were free and that kind of thing. I went through EverCoach. So if you are thinking of being a coach or you are a coach and need more resources, I highly recommend EverCoach by Mindvalley. Literally has like um, a bunch of web pages on like how to get started in your coaching business, business plan, what kind of tools you'll need, what kind of monthly recurring revenue should you have for yourself, that kind of thing. So that taught me a lot of the basics. But when I guess like it came to like getting personalized help, um I think definitely one-on-one is good for that, and definitely don't do group coaching until like you're kind of in the space where it's like you're not investing in coaching because you need it, you're investing in it because you want to, right? You just want to keep growing and learning. That's what I would do. But yeah, so I would have gone through those resources first again, and so I'm actually thinking of going back to those resources again because I'm pretty sure that 2 years after looking at them, and because I've gone through a lot and grown so much, those resources will either be different or they will look so much more different to me, and I will pick up on things that I haven't picked up on before. And then the second thing that I would have invested in, so this is more money as well, not just time, because those other articles are free, so that's mostly time, is courses. Okay, courses and like possibly master classes too. So I think courses and master classes are actually a really great way to start. It also just depends on your preference. So for me and like what you need. So for me, looking back at my experience, I realized that courses would have been the best thing for me because I start as a self learner, right? I'm a manifestation mentor, life coach, and mindset coach, and I learned a lot of these things on my own. I watched hundreds and hundreds of hours, probably thousands now, of YouTube videos. I read a ton of books, and I also took like a ton of courses on manifestation, mindset, metaphysics, life coaching stuff, relationships, human psychology, all of that. And then I started to actually, like work with other like manifestation coaches and like learn from them, right? And then I leveled up, right? Um and I still do that, right? So like um with the courses, right? Like I think it's just so much better because you can one learn at your own pace. Two, you and when you're picking out a course, I feel like I tend to take more time to pick a course than I do with like I don't know, a coach or one-on-one coach, especially if they have really good marketing. So I'm just gonna say that truthfully. Um, but yeah, taking a course, right? Like, or about to take a course really gives you time to just like sit down, brainstorm, and think about what it is that you want and need for your business and for you. And then actually, find a course that's actually tailored to what you need and what you want to do. And I feel like with most courses, you can go at your own pace. So you're not rushing yourself or burning yourself out to trying to work on it every single day. Um, and you actually probably learn so much better that way because you can actually like take time to take notes, right? A lot of the calls that I was in these group coaching containers and also even in the one-on-one, if I hadn't gotten a recording, I probably would feel like so disappointed, right? And frustrated because most of the time it's like the most of the time there's not a lot of chance to like take a lot of notes kind of thing, like you might be doing a live workshop, right? So it requires you to be present and attentive and engaging, right, and interactive. Or maybe the your coach is not structured and they're just kind of like speaking all over the place, right? And so it could be a little bit hard to collect your notes. And also a lot of coaches and the group programs that I worked with didn't use slides, right? So there's no such thing as like PowerPoint slides or that kind of thing, especially when, you're talking about a certain subject or that kind of thing, right? And um, so it can be a little bit challenging to actually, catch up, right? And so I find with courses, you can actually take your time, take some notes, and like you can pause, stop, start, take a break whenever you want. You can just go to sleep, whatever that is. But for, group coaching and that kind of thing, like it's either you're present there or you're watching the replay, right? And it's also a lot of like video stuff, right? So, and that's something else that I realized too is that despite me having a film and video background and also a film degree, I do not like constantly watching videos to learn things. There, I said it. I said it. So I realized that with a course, I can take my time with it. And if even if the course has videos, I can at least take my time with the videos. I don't have to watch them all at once, right? Like right now, I'm taking a course that's unrelated to my business, like for like law school, like pre-law school stuff, and there's videos in it, but there's also text, right? But I can also go at it my own pace, and that's what I really like about it, so I can digest it, right? Um, and the course will also have written stuff there too. Course will likely have like PDFs and stuff that you can download, that kind of thing. um but yeah, my the coach who did the first two programs, like I don't think she had any courses or anything like that. It was just mostly just her talking and the guests talking, and then any notes and stuff, that was all something that you had to take care of. If you needed, she would just supply the recordings and the coaching. That's it. So she designed her business that way, and I think it's genius and think it's amazing. um but yeah, if you need like something more, you need notes, you need like more attention, you need more time, that kind of thing, I think it's so much better to just work with a course first. um and then the second thing that I would invest in is definitely one-on-one coaching. And even better if like you are doing a course and it comes with one-on-one coaching. So like that would be like even better. But yeah, I would totally invest in one-on-one coaching. The reason why is because of that personalized time and personalized just space held for you one-on-one with your coach, right? There's no one else in the room, so you don't have to worry about your coach like not answering your burning questions or coaching you or guiding you when before the session ends, right? Like you got your coach in front of you, and you can tell your coach whatever you need to tell your coach, and they can coach you on whatever they need to coach you, right? So definitely I would save up money or increase in my income or do whatever it takes to, get one-on-one help. But if I couldn't, then I would definitely just do courses until I get to that point where, I'm making money in my business and I have now a fund for professional development, and then use that professional development fund on one-on-one, right? And you don't have to do like a one-on-one like program with a coach. I do highly recommend doing that because of the long-term benefits and just having that commitment and having that accountability, and also like just that person to help you through as your business grows. That's great. But if you're also like just starting out or something, you might just want to do just like one session or a couple sessions, that kind of thing. I totally did that when I was first starting out my business before it became from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur. It was 9 to 5 and entrepreneur, right? I literally would like hire some coaches like in manifestation, and just like some other coaches like here and there, just for one session to two sessions, right? And just to get what I needed, right? And don't be ashamed or afraid to invest in just what you need, right? Like there's tons of there's marketing out there, and there's sales calls out there that you'll hop on, where of course like the coach will try their best to sell you like the biggest thing, right? But at the end of the day, always remember what it is that you need and what you actually want, and like what you can actually allocate at that time. Because there's nothing worse than enrolling something that you realize you didn't really need. And also the other part is like enrolling in something where you can't really keep up with the commitment, right? So hello, whoever just popped in, feel free to let me know who you are and where you're located in the chat. And it's really nice to see you. I was talking about things that I would have invested in if I were to go back in time in my business. um so yeah, you want to like make sure that I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, you want to like make sure that you're investing in what you need at the time, especially if you're starting now, or like if you're still learning, kind of thing. And so that's what I definitely would have done, was courses, instead of group coaching, one-on-one, group coaching. I would have done courses and then one-on-one. And then when I feel a little bit more established, and when I've got a couple $1,000s or more coming into the business, then I would probably start to consider group coaching. And group coaching is great because then you start to get that community, and the community is also really great too, because then you have, kind of coworkers, like, like your 9 to 5, that you can talk about, right, and express your hopes and dreams and fears, and just talk about what you're working on, that kind of thing. But also at the same time, you could also have potential clients from this pool of people, right? And I think that's the beauty of group coaching, is that, yeah, you could be anyone's client, and they could also be your client too, right? um and then you have time with your coach, but it's in a group capacity, and you get to learn from, like, what everyone else is working on, and you can take notes on that, and people also get to learn from what you're working on as well. And it's also a really great networking opportunity too, because you never know, like, who in your community and your group coaching program could actually introduce you to someone who might need what you have, or might be able to give you what you need. Um, so that's what I would recommend. And of course, this is not a linear process for everyone. This is just exactly what I believe would work for me. And yeah, and so I did mention earlier that I would talk about, like, what I'm actually doing now and some updates. And so, yeah, I'm doing exactly that. I remember about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was literally at my friend's house. She's also a coach too, and she just moved here. And I was just at her house, and we were just like chilling out and stuff. And I started to we started to talk about, like, things we invested in, being coaches for our business and for ourselves. And I told her that if I could go back, I probably would have just invested in courses first rather than group coaching, because XYZ that I explained earlier in this video, right? And literally, like, I realized that I was actually about to enroll in something like that, because um, I manifested a uh, business coach actually offering me case study work. So what that means is, I do not pay her for coaching or her course, but I do provide her with a good testimonial, or like a case study kind of thing, right? She can use me, and, like, she can use my learnings and stuff in her marketing, that kind of thing, right? And so it's actually a really good mutual benefit, because it allows me to learn from a coach, right, who knows her shit. And she works with me until, like, I get results, kind of thing. And then, I also help her out, because then she can show, like, what I did, right? And that also helps her too, and her business. So I really like that. And I then realized that, after I had, like, set up all the things, that I actually got a course. I manifested a course after expressing that I would have liked to do courses, right? So yeah, so it's never too late to, like, actually go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, I've done that, didn't work out for me, but what did work for me, and what do I like right now, and what do I actually need, right? And for me, it was courses and 101, and that's exactly what I got. So currently, I'm working with a coach right now, and she is helping me with my business. So she's got a cool course on, like, sales, marketing, um, uh, business foundations, mindset and belief, which is amazing. It's really nice when you can have a coach who can do both strategy stuff and also energetics and mindset and that kind of stuff with you. That's something that I'm aiming towards to be, because I've done business strategy for some of my clients before. Um, but my expertise lies more in energetics and mindset and that kind of thing. But I can actually do business strategy, because I coached businesses in the past for previous jobs. And so, yeah. And of course, as you grow as a business owner, like, you'll get better at strategy too. So, um, yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to drink some water. So, Um, also, she also gives me one-on-one support. So this is not one-on-one support through video. I have to actually check if that's a part of this program, but she's giving me one-on-one support through voice and text messaging. So that's really awesome. I really like it, because I can actually go through the modules in her course and then do the homework that's in the modules, and then I can send it to her on the platform we use, and then she checks it, and then she tells me, you know, what she thinks, and then she'll give me suggestions, and we'll like brainstorm together, which is amazing and awesome. You definitely want to have a coach who like works with you like that, which I love. Um, and before that, I actually was working with an old business coach of mine. I've had many business coaches before, yeah, before, and I gained more business coaches after like those guru programs that I took, right? Because I realized that I needed like the one-on-one help. So there was that. But yeah, I and then I even did like some like mastermind things or masterclass things as well. So that's also the other thing that I mentioned but forgot to elaborate on was the I would probably also invest in like masterclasses as well, because masterclasses are usually for like maybe 1 or 2 days, sometimes 3 days, and they just allow you to like get really hyper focused on one area that you really need help on in your business, and then like you've got so much to take away, and then you can look at your notes, whatever. And usually they come with replays as well, so you can watch it over and over and over, which is amazing. So yeah, which is just really helpful in the long run as well. And when you're looking back 10 years or whatever from now with your business, you can look back at those resources and you still have those resources, right? So yeah, so where was I? There's a lot to cover. um Yeah, so I was working with one of my old business coaches actually for the last 4 weeks. And for him, he was doing more business strategy with me, and also like philosophy, mindset as well, and then energetics work. And so he did not have a course. It was just mostly just one on one with us. So through video and then also through like text as well. And I really liked, having these back-to-back business coaches, because I realized that for me, whenever I hire someone or work with someone, I don't just have like one person for that category of my life anymore. So what I mean is like I won't have just one business coach. I may have multiple that I can pull from or learn from at the same time, because there's so many different perspectives and every single coaches very differently. And then like I do that with my therapy as well, and like my mental health. Like I now have three different therapists slash psychologists that I can actually go to, right? And it also allows me to be non-codependent on one, right? Um, and also gain a variety of perspectives. And I just have three people that really vibe with me, which is awesome, right? And that's the same thing with my business coaches as well, because I'm realizing the business coaches now that I really do want to work with and that I really do vibe with. And I feel like one day I might go back to the first business coach, the one with the group programs and stuff. But I feel like right now where I'm at, like the business coaches that I have right now, like there's 2 or 3 of them, right, that are really, really awesome. I vibe with them a lot more. Um, and like I worked with this one coach for 4 weeks, one on one only. And he also sent me notes at the end of each session that were like summarized notes on his end. And it's so different, because for me, like I don't have summary notes for my clients. I literally give them all the notes that I'm taking during our session, because I want them to just have everything, have all the resources. Like there's no reason for me to summarize things. Like, look at what you said. This is what you said, right? And I used to be a closed captioner, like a transcriber for closed captions. So that's how I'm actually able to like write out what people say like in real time. And I like it. It works well for me and my clients. My clients love it, actually. They love the notes that I take. Um, and I love them too. So uh, yeah, and so I realized that there is such a huge difference with my one business coach and then my business coach now, because I realized that by having this course with this business coach and her one-on-one help, it just helps me understand concepts more easier. And then I don't know, I just feel more safer and more, that it's more easier to ask her questions. It's kind of like, going to school, like going to post-secondary, and you can ask the professor during their office hours or just after class or after class, like for some help, additional help, right? So that's what it kind of feels like. And then with my other business coach, like the one-on-one time with him was like really great, but I noticed that like I had I did a lot more work on my end to take notes so that I wouldn't like lose track of things. And then yeah, like they both have different coaching styles. Like I noticed that the business coach that I work with right now, she's more nurturing, like more compassionate, holding space, and like says a lot of things of love and care. And then my other business coach, like he's also really good at like compassion and like holding space and transformation, that kind of thing, but he's a little bit um more blunt and like straight edge kind of thing. So yeah. So I'm just like, okay, like there's different styles, and I feel like if I were to just choose like one business coach, I probably would choose the current one that I'm with right now. She's I've said she so many times. So um having a feminine slash woman coach is also really nice for me, because then, you know, I have someone who's like emotionally there, but it's also really nice when you have a masculine coach or like a male coach, right? Um, because yeah, there's different dynamics with that, different vibes, that kind of thing. So that's also really nice. So yeah, so that's actually my updates, and those are my thoughts on like what I would actually invest in if I were to go back, to the beginning of my coaching business. Of course, I can't go back to that time, right? But what I can do is I can start implementing the things that I would have wanted to do at the time now, and I am doing that, which is so, so amazing. Another thing that I would definitely have invested in, and I'm just about to go into, is life coaching for myself. So, um, I actually did do a few like kind of sample life coaching sessions with life coaches, other spiritual coaches, and that kind of stuff when I was starting my business. I found it was really beneficial, but I just, because I invested in the business coaching like group programs too soon, I didn't have enough funds to actually invest in the life coaching. Right, like I only had enough for therapy, and it was either therapy or coaching, and I chose therapy. And I want to get to the point where I don't have to choose, where I can actually get both therapy and coaching at the same time. And I was able to come across a coach who is, I guess, getting hours. So I'm gonna start working with them pretty soon here. I think we have like 2 or 3 sessions together. But it would just be really nice to just have someone there, to guide me, right? Because um, not a lot of people really realize this, but it can be actually really tough to coach yourself. Just like how, a doctor trying to diagnose yourself or look at yourself is a little bit hard, or like maybe a hairstylist, right? Trying to dye your own hair or cut your own hair. Maybe you can do the front, but what about the back, right? You need help with that, right? And so that's what it's like with coaches as well. It's like we other coaches can see the things that you might not be able to see as a coach unless you go really, really deep with yourself. But why do that when you can just hire someone else to, help you with that, and also use that extra time to focus on your business and your clients and that kind of thing, right? So, yeah, so that's another thing that I would totally invest in, is like life coaching, or like whatever kind of coaching that I need for like my personal stuff as well, not just my business stuff. Um, and also another thing I would definitely have invested in the first place is help, is support. So the first thing would have definitely been a VA, and I failed to do that until I was like halfway through like the first year, I guess, from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur part. And then it kind of messed up, and it just like it didn't work out as well. But it was really nice to get that help, because I felt I could actually feel what the support felt like. And so and also I learned a lot of lessons from that, of like what I need. And what I realized was that because I was starting out, and I'm still figuring things out, it's so important to actually get like a VA who is trained to be a VA for coaches. Um, yeah, and so I didn't have one like that, right? And so I wasn't able to train my VA. So we could not actually work together. So we had to part ways. Definitely really sad, and definitely something that I don't want to do ever again, like I don't want to ever put another like VA or someone else in that position where it's like they're not being trained by me, because I'm really adamant on training people, but I just wasn't able to at the time. I just didn't have the capacity to. And so I do apologize to that, and I really hope that that person, we no longer talk to each other anymore, but I hope that she's in a better place now, and she's doing something that really lights her up. And yeah, so I those are the things that I would invest in. So first, like definitely courses, one-on-one, staff like support, help, coach for yourself, like personal development, and of course like therapy for yourself as well, like anything for your personal development, because as you're growing your business, as you're also like coaching other people, you need to also maintain yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You are like a freaking car. You need to get that oil change. You need to make those maintenance on you, right? You can't just keep driving, right? Otherwise you fall apart, right? And you don't want to do that, because yeah, you don't want to fall apart. And also people are relying on you to help them, level up and not fall apart as well, right? So the whole like ecosystem, it's whole cycle and circulation. So I just wanted to share that. And thanks so much for listening to me. If you got to the end of the video, congratulations. You just listened to me chat for 45 minutes about what I would have invested in at the beginning of my coaching business. And I hope that some of the tips in this video, or all of them, were helpful to you. Definitely let me know what your key takeaway from this video was today in the comments, and I will take a look at them and I will respond. And I will see you next time for another From 9 to 5 to Entrepreneur vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of this, and also make sure you hit that notification bell so you get a notification every time I go live and every time I upload a video. So I'll see you later. Bye.